Hi everybody and welcome to the weekly growth execution webinar. Here I go through one of the questions that I get asked the most as we talk with clients, with friends, with others who are looking to build their businesses about how to actually get that process engaged, and particularly how to execute on growth. Okay, now the question that I wanted to deal with today that I get asked all the time is, how do I sell more? Now, chances are this is a question that has come up perhaps for your business along the way, and it's one that has so many different facets to it. I really wanted to just focus in on essentially 6 things. Okay, so I'm going to run through them very quickly and straightforwardly. If you've got any questions, anything you want to ask along the way, then please do just pop a note into the questions, the comments, try and deal with them as we go through. But the first thing that you need to do when you're looking to sell more of your product or your service is to think about this whole idea of 3 distinct disciplines. So your product, your marketing, and your sales separately. Now, product is obviously the thing that you sell. Now, it could be a service. It's not necessarily tangible. It's not necessarily something that you can pick up and throw at somebody. It can also be something that they buy off you for your time. It could be some software as a service, etc. But essentially what you need to do is to think about that kind of boxed off in terms of its product concept, design, service, pricing, USP. We're going to look at one of those in particular today in the context of being able to sell it. Similarly with marketing, separate, focus in here on marketing content today. And then in the sales specific discipline, we're going to go through 4 of those 5. All right, so to give you a really clear view of what the key areas are in order that you, by the end of the next 20 minutes, are going to be in a position to look at your products, your service, and potentially be able to sell more of it. Okay, so when we look at the product side of things, within everything that you do, and particularly when you're focusing around the sales side of things, you need to know why you're solving this particular problem. All right. And the reason you need to know is because that's the question that your potential customer is asking themselves. Why are you, as a business owner, as a growth leader, focused on this particular challenge? All right. And until they find the answer to that why, so until you actually articulate it, until they can see it in all that you do and all that you talk about and all that you create from a marketing perspective too, until there is that consistency all the way through everything that you do, then they will answer it themselves and they will make something up. All right, until you know and until you are able to get that message across to them, why? All right, why are you doing this? Then they will make some assumptions about why you're doing it, which may or may not be true. And the challenge and the problem you've got with people making those assumptions themselves is that they are going to potentially be quite cynical about it. And it is particularly in these times where people can find information about pretty much anything they like. They will be going on, doing a bit of research on you, checking you out, really trying to build that trust element. And that is that they want to believe, when you're selling things remotely, particularly as many of us are from lockdown, and many of us will be going forwards into the future in the longer term, you need to be able to demonstrate that you are somebody trustworthy to buy from. Okay, people are looking for that. Social proof is obviously a very important part. That's reviews, that's word of mouth. But it's also the fact that every time you show up and every time you are talking about your product, your service, every time you are pitching, every time you're being interviewed, all of those things are coherent and they're all consistent in terms of what it is that you are here to do and the problem that you are here to solve. All right, so that is why essentially you have to have answered that question right up front for yourself. And look, we're talking about sales today, but this bleeds into everything else that you do, the answer to this question. And that's why, we talk about the Grocean formula. This is element 1. This is the first thing you ever do, is understand why you're solving this particular problem. All right. So once you have that clear in your head, and once you have worked that through and articulated it, and not only are you going to find that that helps you to recruit staff, not only are you going to find that helps you to find the right investors, find the right partners, etc. It also means that those potential customers that are coming to you are going to be able to see what it is that you are offering and decide openly and honestly whether it is for them. And if they decide it is for them, then guess what? You've got something really strong to work on and to work from that's going to enable you to sell more of your product. All right. So the first thing to do is to get your product concept, the answer to the question, why am I solving this problem? Correct. All right. Get that up and out there. The next thing you need to do is to think about your marketing content. Now, you'll think back to the growth execution formula that's behind me here. This actually skips from element 1 to element 8. So there are a bunch in between that we'll talk about in different contexts further down the line. But drilling into this sales challenge, how do you sell more? What you need to do is to get your message out there as frequently and as consistently and coherently as possible. All right, so one of the ways we do that, obviously here at Growth Execution webinar, is to get things like webinars out, like podcasts out, videos, blogs. We're always looking at ways to make these efficient as well. We know how hard it is within an SME to be able to get your messaging out into the right audience, and particularly then to make it consistent. So if you can, record something like a podcast or a video, something that is going to be 20-25 minutes long, that's going to enable you to then slice that up and make it into something that is very specific for your audience. Okay, and once you've done that, you then can slice that into maybe 15 different videos. Now, 25 minutes, you should be able to get 15 bite-sized 90-second to 30 seconds to 90-second segments, and each of them you're going to be able to then write from here 3 blogs around, right? So you end up with 45 blogs. Those that subscribe to the Growth Execution tips every day, we send out them from Groshen here. They land at 8:15 every morning, every weekday, and we have got hundreds and hundreds of them, right? We are nearly coming up to our anniversary. We started this on the 23rd of March, 2020, which was the first day of lockdown here in the UK, the first lockdown. And they've been going every single working day since. All right, and that has come about purely in this way. We've looked at how we can repurpose the content and how we can make sure that it is consistent and coherent and is really doubling down on what our message is. And our message here is, look, we want to be able to help SME businesses to grow and to grow fast. All right, that's all we do. And every single piece of content that you see out there is consistent with that and is dedicated to making sure and to focusing in on how we can do that. You will have a different story and a different product concept, and you will be able to do a similar thing where you are espousing your values. You are talking about the thing that really is important to you, which is the product concept that we just spoke about, and you're able to present it and represent it and repurpose it in multiple different ways across different media. All right, so through a podcast, through a video, and through some blogs. All right, so marketing content is a really critical piece of making sure that you are able to sell more, because this is the proof, this is the backup that your future customers are looking for when they want to know whether you are who you say you are, and whether when they buy what they're looking to buy from you, it is going to actually do what they want it to do. All right, so that's marketing content. Now we're going to dive into the actual sales itself. So the sales module, which is these 5 here. The first of them is sales process, all right, which is the 11th element. And sales process is essentially a funnel. Now, often when presented with the idea of both sales and process, I speak to entrepreneurs, to clients all the time, and these two words together fill them with a double load of dread. Sales are something that frequently those that are creative and wanting to build something and wanting to get it out to market are not necessarily then engaged with the kind of hard face-to-face gnarly work that is sales. You know, the actual stuff that is going to make it happen, to go through a process to turn interest in your product into commitment. It is true for all of us. We would love it if you put something out into the market and then suddenly everybody just bought it. All right, that is the kind of dream, I guess, most, if not all, start off with. You're like, look, I'm going to make something so amazing that once I reveal it, it's just going to fly off the shelves and people are just going to keep buying. Sadly, that is rarely, if ever, true. So what you have to do instead is be pretty scientific about it. All right, and within that, there are 4 distinct stages to your sales process, to your sciencey bit. All right, and they are interest, engagement, conversion, and commitment. All right, now these are really, really important. So I'd absolutely urge you to sit and think about this as it relates to your business. All right, so the interest phase is the first part. So what you've done is you know, and you've done some work as we've talked previously about who your audience is, and what you've managed to do is to identify who they are. What you're trying to do in the first instance is generate some interest. All right, so generate a clue that indicates that this person, this entity, whether it's a business as well, has an interest in what it is that you are looking to do. Now, in doing so, what you are trying to do is to get some data from them, right? So you need an email address. You're going to need some way of actually interacting with them. So perhaps you might hang out a booklet, right? So here again, the Growth Execution Grotion. What we have is the Growth Execution booklet, which is 3 launch essentials. All right, so that is something you can go onto the site grotion.co. You can go to the Growth Execution booklet. If you go to the very bottom of any page, it's in the footer. There's 15 different products. Growth Execution booklet, I think it's the first one actually, in alphabetical order. So there you can get free some really detailed answers to, if you're launching your business or looking to launch your business, then these are the 3 things that you need to do. All right, so it's really detailed. It's actually 3 chapters from the forthcoming Growth Execution Handbook, which is going to be out in the next few weeks. But what it does is it gives you that kind of flavor of, right, okay, these are the 3 things I need to do to launch a business. Right, that's 3, the only 3 you really need to pay attention to, and that in return for an email address that you register with us, then we'll send that out to you and it's free and you've got it. Now, what that does is that obviously gives us the first level of that that sales process, that sales funnel, into engagement. Okay, so what that has done is indicates your interest, and we now move into engagement. Now, within your business, again, what you might be able to do is to have something like a scorecard, something that gives people a score based on their answers to a quiz or a question, or a series of questions. And something that's really good for that is Typeform, Typeform. So typeform.com, you can set up some free, really good, fun and really engaging sort of questionnaires that people love to fill in, that will give them an answer on a scale of something that is relevant to your business and relevant to them. And they will give you their email address in exchange for that. And you can then move them on to the next level, to engagement. If you want to find out any more about things like Typeform or anything like the booklet and so on, then just let us know after this, or email me directly, mal@grotion.co. I'd be happy to share any thoughts and so on with it. So then we move on to engagement. Now, engagement is where you are actively in communication with this person. Now, again, it may be automated. It may be something that you can set up as a constant drip. It may be something that you actually treat as quite bespoke. So perhaps it's of a higher value, your product, and therefore what you're looking to do is to make this a really conscious decision by the person or the business that they are wanting to convert and to move to that level. But in engagement, what you tend to find is that there's one key activity. All right, there is one thing that you do or that your business does more than any other that leads to a conversion from somebody being interested into somebody wanting to buy your product. Right. So, but within this engagement, whatever those are, it might be that you're emailing them and exchanging emails, but then there's a web demo, for example. It might be that you want to get them to a tasting evening at a restaurant. It might be that you want to take a test drive of a car or of something else. Whatever it is, it's a key activity. It's one activity that more than any others will increase your conversion rate and will make people much, much, much more likely to want to buy your product and to want to convert that into a sale. So that engagement space is really, really important, but particularly important is finding that key activity. When you find the key activity, by the way, what you're going to want to do is really, really, really hone it. All right, make sure that it is so sleek, that it has everything really well aligned. You're learning all the time about what works, what doesn't work, and you're refining that key activity more than any others, because that is the one that, if you get it in the right order, if you deliver it in the right way, is going to really widen that funnel and enable more and more people to drop through. All right, so the engagement to conversion piece, get that key activity in. Conversion is when they say yes. All right, it is when they absolutely commit and say, do you know what, or convert. They say, this is what we want to do. We love it. We think it's great. And it's a moment of great joy and excitement. But unfortunately, it's not the end. All right, there are so many reasons and sad reasons why people may agree to do things and then not actually end up doing it. So it's not until the final stage, the commitment stage, that you actually know that this is a contract, this is a done deal, you've actually got the money in. All right, so that commitment stage can be people signing a form online, it can be a long form contract that you send out and you get back, whatever it is that moment, or it could be just when they click buy in their basket. Whatever it is, you need that commitment. Don't stop selling until you get that signed contract done. Okay, that is the absolute essential moment that you need to make sure is happening. All right, so that commitment side of things too. Okay, so that's sales process. We're talking here about what possibly is going to help you to sell more, and a really key part of that as well is sales collaboration. All right, so this is the 12th element in the growth execution formula. Sales collaboration. Basically, it is borrowing from a business that has already been out talking to your audience, has been successful in selling to your audience, probably is a couple of years ahead of you, but is obviously non-competitive. All right, if it is somebody who's obviously doing what you're doing, you're not going to want to partner up with them. But if it is somebody who's selling something perhaps adjacent to what you are selling and is not in your market, then by partnering up with them, what you do is you advance three things really, really quickly. You advance your integrity. Okay, so you're essentially borrowing their integrity, whatever they have been able to deliver to their customers, however they have delighted them in the past. What you find is that by their recommendation, you share in that kind of halo effect of what they've done in the past. This is also where people like ambassadors, people like influencers come in from various social media places, and why you see sports people sponsoring stuff and so on, and famous people, celebrities in adverts. It is essentially you're borrowing a level of integrity from them by going into collaboration with them. So that's a really important thing. But one of the other things that you need to think about is how their reason, how their why, what their product concept is. This is your potential partner, how that relates to yours. Because if one of your prime features of your business is, for example, environmentalism, what you don't want to do is partner up with a company that then will partner up with, for example, a fossil fuel company. All right, so because people will always remember that you were partners, so you've got to choose very, very carefully when you are looking to go into partnership with somebody that they share your values and share what it is that makes you you. So integrity is a really important part of the partnership. Data is another one. Obviously, they're talking to these customers. They are sharing access to these customers, and what you are getting is similar access. They may give you the data, probably unlikely, but certainly they'll perhaps advertise you alongside some newsletter or something when they're going out to these partners. Even deeper than that, what you can get is a full-on integration, where actually there is almost a kind of hybrid product that they know that by using one they can use the other, and so on. So that depth of collaboration is really great, but again, it takes a bit more time. And you need to be sure that it's the right partner. The third one is that's often overlooked in terms of collaboration, is the advice side of things. This is a business, again, perhaps 2 years ahead of you, that has already overcome a lot of the obstacles that you'll be facing. So never be afraid of asking them for advice on how they've got to where they've got to, what's the customers want to be hearing, what pitfalls to look out for, because that it becomes something that is important to them, your success. So asking them how you can achieve greater success is perfectly natural, perfectly allowed and perfectly wise, and it's something that you should really make the most of when you've got that opportunity as well. Moving on to sales goals. Now, it's always difficult, particularly when you're at a startup stage, but even when you're a young business, to imagine 3 years ahead. But I can't emphasize enough that even if you are very, very wrong about what's going to happen in 3 years, perhaps a pandemic's going to hit and that's going to change everything. The simple fact that you have something to look at and to go for gives you a real impetus to overcome. All right, whatever those challenges are. So it's an exercise, it's a thought process, it's a thought experiment that actually gives you some really, really strong fundamentals and gets you thinking all the way around this sales challenge in order to make it so that you are able to then think about how this is going to impact on you, how you are going to achieve these aims in the next 3 years. What I tend to do, what I'm talking with clients, I look at 10% for year one of your overall. So this is when you think about kind of price or revenue. 35% in year two and 100% in year three. So this is in month 36, 3 years from now, which is January 2024. Feels like ages away, will fly. That's when you want to be on 100% of what your dream is, right? So whatever your pricing is, or whatever the amount of revenue you want to be making, whatever your profit levels are, that's month 36, all right? And then you work backwards from there, so that by the end of year two, you're getting 35% of it. By the end of year one, you're getting 10% of it. All right. So again, any questions on that in detail? It's quite complex, but it's really important to get there. Email me, mal@groshen.co. Happy to chat that through with you. And then the last thing I wanted to cover, just in terms of our sales process here, is about the key activity. Now, sales activity, this is, as I mentioned in sales process, this is the thing that you really, really want to know is the thing that converts the most. All right. Now, the 14th or 15th elements in the growth execution formula is sales activity. And it's a key part of every successful business, is understanding what this key activity is, making sure that you are honing it to within an inch of its life. It is the most slick part of almost your entire operation, is the ability for people, for you or for your sales team or for everybody in the business to be able to perform this key activity, because that conversation or that drinks evening or that test drive, whatever it is, needs to go so well, and everybody needs to be so on it that actually it is a real joy for that potential customer to say yes and to convert and to commit. So to move from that conversion stage to the commitment stage. All right. So these are essentially 6 ideas of how can you sell. All right. These are all part of the growth execution formula. Do have a look at the groshen.co website. Plenty in there. Make sure you register for the growth execution tips. And if you want a 20-minute solid exclusive conversation with me, with one of the other Groshen team, specifically around your particular business, then just get in touch. We'll be delighted to have that conversation over the next few weeks and get you set up for 2021. Make sure you're able to sell more.